Remember back when longswords sucked? Well, like with every weapon, it's come a long way in its evolution over the years, for the better and sometimes for the worse. In this video, I'm going to give you a taste of those changes that Capcom has made to the weapon throughout my history with Monster Hunter. And I'm also going to tell you how, if you're not careful, all the current hype surrounding Monster Hunter Wilds is going to leave you very disappointed. Why would you be disappointed? Well, because the changes we're seeing right now for the upcoming title, Monster Hunter Wilds, are in all likelihood far worse than you've been led to believe. I know that sounds like a lot of doom and gloom, but by the time you're done with this video, I think you'll have a greater appreciation of what's in store for you. So grab your popcorn, put in your earbuds, and get ready for another spanking, iixxion style. Our story begins here, with this video I uploaded the other day concerning the weapon trailers for Monster Hunter Wilds. In this video, I expressed some disappointment with the new weapon trailers, and I warned people to be wary of anyone hyping these lackluster showcases, if you can even call them showcases. And boy, did I get a lot of pushback in the comments. Some people think it was a satirical bit, which I am guilty of doing from time to time. The Meat Cat says, I know this is obvious satire, but I would like to say Bo can be played very much like you did in Rise. Some people didn't realize that I hadn't watched any Wilds coverage at all, except for that first trailer, even though that was one of the first things that I mentioned in my video. And some people think I'm just rage baiting. One guy says I'm not an OG hunter, which, to be fair, he's right. I didn't get started on Monster Hunter until Try, which you'll see in just a minute. You know, with all these comments disagreeing with me, I even started to disagree with myself at one point, thinking I had simply fallen prey to grumpy old man syndrome. Get your new combos off my lawn. So while many people did agree with the points that I had to make and did understand that I hadn't watched the rest of the coverage yet, most people disagreed with me on this video, and that's okay. Most of the comments are the thoughtful, well-spoken disagreements that I've come to expect from the most literate, clear-headed YouTube commenters in the entire galaxy. You guys. And I mean that sincerely. I'm glad we've cultivated a community here on YouTube and in the Discord server that can handle disagreement. Everyone except Peanut, that is. Whenever I express an opinion that differs from his, I have to talk him down off a ledge. But at the end of the day, I keep coming back to the same assessment for the weapons in Monster Hunter Wilds. I've seen big weapon changes from one Monster Hunter to the next. This isn't that. Now, at first I thought it was simply a matter of seeing similarities versus seeing differences. The way my brain works, I tend to see things that are similar. I'm pretty darn good at pattern recognition. After all, it's what allowed me to predict the entire first trailer for Wilds and to predict far ahead of time lots of changes that have since been confirmed, like flying mounts and the wyvern rope. Whereas other people tend to notice the differences in things. And so every minor detail that didn't look exactly like World or Rise really stood out to them and seemed to them much bigger than those differences seemed to me. But now that I've had time to sit with it all, I realized the situation is far more ominous than I originally thought. Now, before you dismiss me as a Wilds hater, let me make one thing very clear up front. There are very few people on this planet who are bigger Monster Hunter fans than I am. Wilds is already in my shopping cart. I'm waiting with wallet wide open for day one of pre-orders. And there are very few people on this planet who complain less than I do about new Monster Hunter titles, who embrace everything the new titles give us and tolerate the mistakes they make. I'm also one of a small group of people who acknowledge that every Monster Hunter title is a brand new game, knowing that anything and everything about it could change. And not only do I accept it, I revel in it. So it should go without saying that I'm going to play the hell out of Monster Hunter Wilds and love every minute of it. And of course, make videos about it. But in order to understand why you're very likely to be disappointed by the weapon changes that we're going to get for Wilds, we have to take a stroll down memory lane and see what has come before. So what the hell are we waiting for? Let's take a look at a bit of my history with everybody's favorite weapon, the longsword. We start our journey in Monster Hunter Tri, where the longsword was an amazing weapon, but the moveset was very limited. It amounted to just a handful of actual moves and your spirit combo, and not many ways to chain them together. Sure, you had an infinite combo, but it was a very low damage infinite combo. Now, going from Tri to 3U, the biggest change that was made in Monster Hunter for longsword was how they removed the concept of overcharging from the longsword. So if you charged up to level 3 and then did yet another spirit combo finisher, in Monster Hunter Tri, it would reset your charge level. So you lose your charge level 3. But in 3U, that's no longer the case. Once you charge all the way up to level 3 and you do another spirit finisher, you maintain that level 3 charge. Huge difference, because now you can spam the spirit combo over and over again, including your finisher, which back then was a pretty big hit. In fact, probably your biggest hit in the game for longsword. Now, the other big difference concerning weapons between Tri and 3U is that 4 new weapons came into the game. And bowgun, which was one weapon in Monster Hunter Tri, was split into 2, light bowgun and heavy bowgun. So in a sense, 5 new weapons. Now, they weren't new weapons, they were just new to me. But again, this is my journey, and whether or not they're brand new doesn't take away from the fact that there were major weapon changes from Tri to 3U. You had essentially 50% more weapons, and now you can spam your level 3 spirit combo to your heart's content. Still, your moveset was very limited. You had so few moves for longsword that you had extra buttons on the controller that Capcom didn't know what to do with. One of those buttons was dedicated to displaying your HUD, and another button was dedicated to selecting which monster you're targeting. Now, 4U didn't bring a lot of new moves, but what it did give us was a high-powered infinite combo. And this is preserved in Monster Hunter Rise to this day. And this is what it looks like. Fade slash, spirit step slash. So charge, fade slash, spirit step slash, and then your spirit combo with finisher. Now, if you didn't do the finisher, you could do fade slash, spirit step slash. You could chain a few spirit slashes after your spirit step slash, and then again, do another fade slash, spirit step slash. And so you had access to a very powerful infinite combo that included built-in repositioning. And that one single change made a world of difference between longsword in 3U and 4U. And with it, you begin to see what modern longsword was to become. A weapon where you didn't have to stop attacking to reposition. Oh, and by the way, what else was new for weapons in 4U? Well, as you should know by now, 2 brand new weapons to the series. That's right, Charge Blade and Insect Glaive were invented for 4U. Huge. 2 brand new weapons in the game. What could be a bigger change than brand new weapons? Now, Generations and Generations Ultimate. If you guys have not experienced these games, you're missing out on a piece of history and some awesome Monster Hunter action. There is so much documentation on Generations and Generations Ultimate. You can find it online, and it looks like this. What did Generations give us? It gave us hunting styles and hunter arts. Now, 4 of these styles came with Generations, and Ultimate added 2 more styles. So here's the full list right here. These are very reminiscent of what we have today in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. You get to customize your movesets, right? And then the hunter arts go hand in hand with those styles. And these are your big moves. These are like your switch skills. And some of these are identical to switch skills we have today. They just lifted these straight out of Generations Ultimate and stuck them in Rise. Okay, not just in name, but in what they're all about. Every weapon was taken to the extreme in Generations Ultimate. So much customization. So you can find all this info very easily online. It's a total sea change. Look up hunting styles and hunter arts. All of this looks a lot like a first draft of switch skills. So after Generations Ultimate came World. And compared to Generations Ultimate, for many people, World felt like a step backwards. But what World actually did was a huge improvement. What it really did was it streamlined the weapons, and it gave you access to moves from most or all of the hunting styles at the same time without having to change your styles in between quests. So no longer were you limited to just one set of moves and play style. What Capcom tried to do was pull the best of everything in and put it all together in World. Despite that though, despite that streamlining, some do say that it was a step backwards, and simply because they lost a lot of moves that they had in Generations Ultimate. Now that's a fair argument, but I see World as a consolidation of Generations Ultimate into a single style. So now you have access to all the concepts at the same time, rather than having to choose only one set of skills for each quest. And then Iceborne layered in so much more, especially with the addition of the Clutch Claw and so many moves now that make you mobile and aerial. And it changed the entire game. And then we come to Rise. Now we all know what Rise is all about, right? You already know what Rise Sunbreak looks like. It has so much more than World in terms of what each weapon can do. And while there are some people who complain that their weapons are worse than they were in World, you cannot argue with the fact that every weapon in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak has a ridiculous amount of complexity and variety. And that's just as true for the longsword. The longsword in Sunbreak still preserves all the same moves that we had back in Tri. The entire Monster Hunter Tri moveset is embedded within the Sunbreak moveset. So you can play Sunbreak just how we did back in Tri. But all these moves are just vestigial remnants now. There's so much more layered on top of that foundation that it's really no longer a foundation. You can play very well, perhaps even better, without using a single move from Monster Hunter Tri. So I hope after this bit of history review that it's become pretty clear that with each new iteration of the Monster Hunter franchise, there have been significant changes to the weapon system. Whether that's a single move that fundamentally changes how you engage with a weapon, like going from 3 to 3U or 3U to 4U, or whether it's a massive dump of new functionality, like in Generations and Generations Ultimate, or the addition of entirely new weapons to the game, which has happened for me a couple of times now. Or whether it's some mix of all these. The current variety of moves and combos in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak is overwhelming, and that's fine, because you can pick the moves that fit your own personal style and strengths and build something unique to you. There are so many ways to play Sunbreak that each weapon enables you to play in such a way that it looks completely foreign to someone else playing that weapon. Now, the downside to that variety is that for the next iteration of Monster Hunter, you will not see such a fundamental change as we have seen previously. You'll see incremental changes. You'll see a consolidation effect, like what happened with World. And that's what you're seeing in these weapon trailers. When you have the historical perspective that I have on the weapon changes throughout the history of the Monster Hunter franchise, what Capcom has shown us in the weapon trailers is simply more of the same, a reshuffling, minor tweaks, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. Now, again, to you, it might look like a big deal, but compared to what we've seen in the past, it's not very much. Now, all that said, it's what they haven't shown us that I'm actually concerned about, because what they haven't shown is comprised of two things. What fundamentally new concepts are they introducing for each weapon? That's the part I'm waiting to get excited about. And the second thing they haven't shown us is what functionality are they going to remove from the current iterations of the weapons? That's the part that you should be concerned about too. Not so you can bitch about it, no. The reason you should be concerned is this. In all your enthusiasm, taking in all the hype surrounding what actually amounts to very minor changes, historically speaking, you're setting yourself up for a rude awakening. Hardcore disappointment. When you finally get the game in your hands after months and months of anticipation and hype, and you realize that it is not at all what you were expecting, and you start to wonder where all your moves went. Where are my switch skills? Where are my combos? You think I'm being pessimistic? Look what happened to people going from Gen Ultimate to World. The people that don't complain about movesets in World are, for the most part, people who never played Generations Ultimate. And if you got your start in World, then played Sunbreak, you haven't really been exposed to this level of weapon disappointment before. Iixxion has spoiled you with a wire bug and a bounty of switch skills. And Kaname is undoubtedly distilling all of that into a much more streamlined version of each weapon, just as he did with the changes from Gen Ultimate to World. So if you think the changes that you see in the trailer are merely new additions to each weapon on top of what we already have, and you're getting this hyped about it, you either didn't experience or simply don't remember what happened back then. And now you're going to get that experience firsthand. And it ain't pretty. For those of you who think I'm trying to shit on your parade, go ahead and see it that way. It won't be the first time somebody thought that about me. Or you could take my advice. Temper your enthusiasm. Put these changes in context and don't set yourself up for disappointment by buying into the hype that the low effort channels are creating out of practically nothing, conveniently forgetting their own experiences moving from Gen Ultimate to World. Yeah, they do know better, simply to enshrine themselves in the good graces of Capcom and continue to get the big payouts. Take it from the old guard. Monster Hunter evolves with each new entry. Sometimes that evolution is constructive, and sometimes it is a, shall we say, streamlining effect. We're in one of those evolutions right now. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out some of my other videos. Sometimes I have to tell the truth, even when it hurts. Sometimes it seems like I'm being a party pooper, but I'd rather see you a little upset now than to feel disappointed and disgusted with the game later on. You're going to have a much more enjoyable experience if you keep a realistic perspective on the situation. Come on over to the Discord, lots of cool people there. And yes, we do disagree from time to time, and we do it respectfully.